You know what's truly dangerous about stupidity? It's not the drooling or stumbling or some obvious sign that screams, "Hey, I'm not very smart" number. The real danger is that a stupid man doesn't even know he's stupid. He walks with confidence. He talks with authority. He believes, he sees the truth, while his life quietly crumbles behind him. And the worst part? He never shuts up. He speaks before he thinks. He reacts before he observes. He blames before he reflects. That's not ignorance. That's arrogance without awareness. Seneca once said, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today." That's where foolish men live, in a dream of tomorrow or worse, in someone else's version of today. If you want to know whether a man is wise, don't just watch what he does. Listen to what he says. Words reveal his discipline, his self-respect, and the battles he's fought. So today, let's break it down. 6 things only stupid men say. 6 verbal red flags that expose weakness, cowardice, and delusion. Quick challenge. If one of these hits you personally, be brutally honest and drop it in the comments. Remember, self-honesty is the first step to strength. That's just the way I am. This is the anthem of a dead man walking. It sounds like acceptance, but really, it's resignation. When a man says, "That's just who I am," what he really means is, "I've stopped growing." Think about it. If your phone never updated, you'd toss it in the trash. So, why treat your personality like an outdated operating system you're stuck with forever? Marcus Aurelius said, "You can't control what happens, but you can control how you think." Yet foolish men blame their childhood, their zodiac sign, their genetics. They treat flaws like birthrights. But strength comes from being willing to suffer, to change, to become someone you've never been. So next time you catch yourself saying, "That's just the way I am," stop. What you really mean is, "I'm too scared to change." I don't care what people think. Sounds tough, right? Independent, alpha. But let's be real. Most men who say this care more than anyone. They're desperate for you to believe they're above judgment. But here's the truth. If you have to announce you don't care, you probably do. A truly strong man doesn't need to declare war on opinions. He just lives his truth, quietly, confidently, without hashtags or slogans. Here's a funny test. Ever seen someone post, "I don't care what people think," right before deleting the post because people didn't like it? Yeah, that's how much they don't care. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." And that's the trap. Stupid men pretend to know. They're obsessed with looking strong, not becoming strong. Quick check. Have you ever said this line yourself? Was it true? Or just you trying to look tough? Drop your answer in the comments. It's not my fault. The national anthem of the week. He blames his boss, his parents, his ex, the algorithm, anyone but himself. Here's the danger. The moment you say, "It's not my fault," you hand away your power. Because if it's not your fault, it's not your fight. But wise men do the opposite. Even if it isn't their fault, they make it their fight. Because when you own something, you gain the power to change it. Blame is delay. Responsibility is action. Yes, responsibility stings. But regret never leaves you alone. Ask yourself right now, are you choosing the short sting of responsibility or the lifelong prison of regret? Why should I try if nothing changes? Sounds rational, logical even, but it's poison. This is the quitter's anthem. The man who goes to the gym for 2 weeks doesn't see abs and quits. The man who tries to build a business, hits resistance, and folds. The man who apologizes once, doesn't get instant forgiveness, and walks away. That's not strength. That's a toddler mindset. Press button, get candy. But life is not a vending machine. The wise live by process, not praise. They know the value is in the doing, not the instant outcome. Think about Musashi, the samurai. He didn't say, "Will this duel change my life?" He trained, he fought, he repeated. Because greatness is not about one result. It's about forging yourself through repetition. Lose your fire, and you're already halfway in the grave. Keep swinging, even when it looks pointless. And one day, you'll break through the wall. I deserve better. This one sounds motivational, but most of the time, it's entitlement in disguise. Men love to say they deserve loyalty, money, love, without lifting a finger to earn it. They want the crown without building the kingdom. But the truth is, you don't deserve anything. You earn it, with blood, with scars, with daily self-mastery. A wise man doesn't say, "I deserve better." He says, "What am I willing to sacrifice to become better?" Here's the uplifting part. When you actually do the work, you don't need to shout that you deserve more. Life reflects it back to you. So if you want better, don't demand it. Be better. That's impossible. The final nail in the coffin. Stupid men don't say this because things are impossible, but because they are unwilling. They see a man rise from nothing and say, "He got lucky." They see a man with a body of steel and say, "Steroids." They see calm under pressure and say, "Fake." Why? Because if greatness is possible, then their excuses collapse. It's safer to label it impossible and rot in mediocrity. Seneca said, "Difficulty strengthens the mind as labor does the body." But foolish men don't want strength. They want validation. Here's the uplift. Impossibility is usually just untapped possibility. The wall isn't blocking you, it's showing you where you need to grow stronger. Here's the bottom line. Stupidity isn't about IQ. It's about mindset. It's about words. It's about how you face reality. The cure? Brutal self-honesty. Learn to observe 10 times before speaking once. Use words like weapons, not noise. A wise man doesn't need to prove his wisdom. He lets silence speak. He lets results do the talking. So stop saying you don't care. Stop saying it's not your fault. Stop saying you deserve better while doing nothing. And for the love of your own potential, stop saying, "That's just the way I am." And before you click away, tell me in the comments, which one of these 6 do you hear most in your life? Or which one are you guilty of saying? Be honest. It might just be the turning point. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs men who think like warriors, men who act with discipline, men who've killed the coward inside, because in the end, you're not what you post. You're not what you say you'll do. You are only what you repeatedly prove when no one's watching. So which man will you be? The one rotting in excuses or the one rising in silence? If this hit you, smash that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs the truth. Because the world doesn't need louder men. It needs better ones.